from the University of Laverne. This is Foothill Community News.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Foothill Community News. I'm Valerie Valdez.
And I'm Brashonda Taylor. Topping our news today, police reform in California following the death of George Floyd at the hands of the police and the waves of national protests. Police in California will now have to operate under new rules. Reporter Aaron Ariano has the details.
A year after millions of Americans took to the streets to protest the police killing of black citizens, California has joined the ranks of dozens of states enacting police reform. Governor Newsom recently signed into law several bills that will put tighter restraints on police officers.
A lot of these reforms are good, but greatly are extremely overdue in the fact that these are things that, one, fundamentally should have never made it into the system as oversights, in addition to the fact that we've been complaining about this for years.
The laws that were signed last September combined 8 key bills that target key areas in policing that have been under public scrutiny. These new rules include outlawing any positional asphyxiation during arrests that may cause a person's airways to be compressed, and restrictions on when officers can use rubber bullets and tear gas during protests. Another key change that is a result of George Floyd's murder makes clear when officers have a duty to intervene when they witness excessive force by other officers. Dr. Willie Armstrong worked with Pasadena Assemblymember Chris Holden in drafting this law.
California, like Minnesota, has a duty to intervene law. But one of the things that we kicked around here in our office is, what specifically does that mean? When you say that an officer has a duty to intervene, what does that mean, and how do you know when they've intervened?
Under another law, bad officers will be subject to decertification, meaning if they have been found guilty of misconduct or other serious crimes while on the job, they cannot be rehired by any law enforcement agency in the state. I went to a University of Laverne Black Student Union meeting where they discussed policing in America and shared their experiences with encountering police.
We'll be pulled over for something that doesn't make sense at first, and after that, it's a whole downhill slope from there. I mean, myself, I've been illegally searched without a warrant, just stopped and pressed it at the street several times.
Statistics show that Black Americans are more likely to be stopped by police than any other group. According to a 2020 report by the Public Policy Institute of California, in Los Angeles, where Black Americans make up 9% of the population, they account for 28% of stops by LAPD. The rates are similar for African Americans across the state. Despite the need for reforms, a number of police unions and associations oppose the new measures. They say aspects of these laws, such as the decertification and the requirement to report excessive use of force, redefine existing terms and agreements they negotiated with lawmakers years ago. While the future of policing in America is up in the air, some, like criminology major Cain Ruiz, believe real police reform won't come until the next generation takes over.
Yeah, I think change would be good, and I think in the next 5 to 7 years there's going to be a lot of change, because right now the people that are running the sheriff's departments that are in the high-ranking positions, like lieutenants, captains, chief of police, they hold traditional values of policing, and I think there's going to be a lot of change in these next coming years.
Most of these laws are now in effect, but for major changes, such as the law that prohibits officers from shooting tear gas and rubber bullets into crowds indiscriminately, and the decertification law will go into effect as soon as January 1st, 2022. For Foothill Community News, I'm Aaron Ariano.
Making the change from high school to college can be a challenge. Now add COVID, a pandemic, and more than a year of learning online. Reporter Jonathan Garcia looks at how the pandemic has impacted first-year college students.
It's been 19 months since COVID sent education virtual. Now that most schools and colleges are back in person, it's clear that learning online has negatively impacted many students. A survey published in Inside Higher Ed asked 2,000 college students to rate the quality of their education during COVID. More than half of the students surveyed said they learned less during the pandemic compared to pre-pandemic school years. About 1/4 of the college freshmen surveyed said they felt very unprepared for college.
I feel like I honestly learned nothing, which is kind of bad to say, but yeah, I did what I could.
College freshman Savannah Noriega spent her senior year in high school learning online.
I was very in a chaotic environment, and so my learning was just so difficult to try and work with my teachers and be like, oh, I'm sorry, there's noise, or I can't concentrate, stuff like that. It was really hard to adjust.
Professor Jose Valdivinos says he has noticed some learning gaps among the students in his freshman accounting class at the University of Laverne.
I just gave a midterm several weeks back, and a lot of them had a difficult time with the material.
An LA Times data analysis of LAUSD students found that grades declined across the board last year for both middle and high school students. The study also projects that the number of seniors graduating next year who will meet the admissions requirements for UC and Cal State universities will decline by more than 10%. Juan Regalado was the Chief Student Affairs Officer at the University of Laverne. He says the freshman class is starting college, carrying with them the trauma caused by the pandemic.
The group has had a great deal of life circumstances that they've had to overcome, and COVID has exacerbated whatever that was. So if they were coming in with life circumstances, COVID has actually exacerbated that and probably made it a little bit more challenging.
At the University of Laverne, early outreach to students coping with the effects of the pandemic is one of the ways they're trying to help.
We have to have those strong partnerships with both our faculty and our staff to be our eyes and ears as well. So that way we can identify students who might be struggling, socially or academically.
Preliminary studies estimate that as a result of the pandemic and school shutdowns, students have lost 3 months to a year of learning, and no one can say when they'll get it back. I'm Jonathan Garcia for Foothill Community News.
When we come back, a day of celebration for the LGBTQ community.
We'll tell you about National Coming Out Day in our area. Stay with us.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids
you.
how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
The University of Laverne celebrated National Coming Out Day with a crafty event to show support of its LGBTQ community. I went to check it out. Students posed for pictures in a frame that read, "All for love and love for all," a message that members of the LGBTQ+ community wanted to get across during National Coming Out Day earlier this month.
For me, it's like a chance for, me and my friends to truly be who we are and not feel ashamed for, being having a sexual orientation other than heterosexual, or having a gender identity that is not cisgender.
Student leader Antoinette Lorenzo is an ally and helped with the event. She says that it is important for this community to have a day that recognizes them.
For a while, obviously, they've all been kind of hidden, I guess you can say, in a sense. So it's a great way for them to come out and be like, oh, wow, there's actually an event for me.
The small drop-in event took place at the university's Ludwig Center for Spirituality and Community Engagement. Associate Director of Multicultural Affairs, Misty Livingston, says she felt a deep connection to this event due to her daughter coming out as gay.
She was scared, and I thought I had always offered that open environment. And she said, Mom, I know that you are welcoming and open. It's just, I was a little intimidated. So
students made buttons and interacted with other LGBTQ+ community members at the university. For student Natalia Vieira, the event made her feel accepted.
It also shows me that there are more people like me, who I can find community with.
Help celebrate coming out as a transformative experience, not necessarily a bad one, as opposed to one that's shameful.
Many LGBTQ+ are still closeted at home because their families are not accepting. Events like this on campus give them an opportunity to be their true selves.
The city of Pasadena made history during its National Coming Out Day celebration by declaring October LGBTQ History Month. I was on hand for the festivities. The city of Pasadena celebrated National Coming Out Day at Memorial Park this year. But instead of just one day, the mayor declared October LGBTQ History Month.
This wonderful event on, and just to celebrate and love each other and care about each other.
The annual event is part of the city of Pasadena's efforts to make everyone feel accepted, regardless of how they may identify themselves.
This, and is a gay male, I always feel really proud that the city is supportive of diversity and inclusion measures, and I'm really happy to be here celebrating tonight.
So I came out in like early June 2016, and yeah, I've been very happy ever since.
Children, adults, members, and allies of the LGBTQ+ community gathered at the park to recognize the power of coming out. Whitney Harrison of Pasadena wanted to show support for her gay brother, William.
He waited a long time to be able to come out, and it showed me that even though we had a family that said, you know, we accept gay people, he still had a really hard time coming out.
Jacqueline Tatum of At-Risk Homeless Youth Resource Center says many members of the LGBTQ community are homeless.
Some of them have been forced out of their homes because of their LGBTQ status. Their parents, you know, they're not accepting and have asked them to leave, so they end up experiencing homelessness, and then our program helps them to try to find housing.
The event was also about celebration. Performers in drag entertained the crowd with music and a message of empowerment. National Coming Out Day is celebrated on October 11th each year. It was inspired by the March on Washington for Lesbian and Gay Rights back in 1987.
If you're looking to find out what's going around the town, we'll give you the rundown.
Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Good one, son.
Last summer, my new dad took me on vacation. First, we went deep sea fishing.
Wow! I'm so proud of you, son.
And then we went on Thunder Shark. That was awesome! Let's go again. 3 times. I gotta say, it was pretty cool.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Oh, not again.
Looking for something to do in the days leading up to Thanksgiving? Here's what's happening. Honor your ancestors at the Day of the Dead altar at the Glendale Central Library. Bring your offerings and enjoy a colorful celebration of life that reunites the living and the dead. Families will be able to build ofrendas to honor and welcome their beloved departed family members. The event takes place on November 6th, starting at 3 p.m. until 7 p.m. at the Glendale Central Library. Admission is free.
The Light Show Extravaganza is back at the Los Angeles County Arboretum and Botanic Garden. Journey into a festive world of wonder with thousands of twinkling lights. The enchanting After Dark illuminated trail will span 1 mile and feature spectacular sights. The show is open from Friday, November 12th to Sunday, January 16th, 5:30 p.m. to 8:45 p.m. at the Arboretum and Botanic Garden in Arcadia. Tickets start at $32 per person and $20 for children ages 3 to 12. Visit arboretum.org/Slightscape to buy your tickets today.
Bring your family and enjoy some music and food while live and silent auctions are going on during Family Fun Night in San Dimas. The event takes place at the Holy Name of Mary Church on November 6th. Tickets for adults are $20 and children are $10. You can purchase them at the church after Mass.
Get your bike and join the rest of the community in Alpha Wind Turkey Triathlon at Bonelli Park in San Dimas. There are 3 races to choose from that will allow you to experience the great scenery while you challenge yourself to finish the race. The event takes place on November 21st starting at 7:30 a.m. and is free.
That's it for now. We hope you'll join us for our next show.
From the University of La Verne, this has been Foothill Community News. Have a great week.